items, one or two possibly. If you could please register at the side desk, then we'll get around to it. First off, the agenda. I'm not aware of any additions to the agenda. CEO, are there any additions?
No.
None?
No.
Just to alert you, item 6.1 is deleted. We dealt with that last night. And there is no 17.1. Otherwise, the agenda is as printed. I'd entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. Councillor Temple? Any comments? None? All those in favor? Aye. Okay, now we get on to the delegations. And we don't have any scheduled delegations, but I understand we have some public ones.
I was scheduled.
Pardon?
The beautification was scheduled.
The beautification is scheduled? Okay, we'll start with that. Who's beautiful?
Me.
You are. I should alert people, my wife is on this committee, okay, just in case you find some bias in my comment. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, good evening, Council. Chris Clegg, I chair High Prairie Community Beautification Association. Our vice chair is behind me here, Trish Long, almost said Wilson, Trish Long. And actually, Carol's a member of our group. She joined us a while ago. So basically, you'll be getting an agreement that we began with the last council. David, Mr. Joy, your CEO, has a copy of it. We got to make one change. I didn't get it to you for tonight's meeting yet. It's very simple standard agreements that we felt what we needed to do so everyone was clear on council and administration of what the responsibilities were for both groups moving forward, particularly pertaining to High Prairie Life Celebration and of course the care of the flower beds at McIntyre Park in each end of town, which are major projects. So basically tonight, I'm here to inform you of that. I already skipped congratulations to council being elected. Hope you have a good 4 years. Now, what we want to know tonight basically is, are you in for Light Up this year? And we asked that question is, are you going to take care of the organization of the Santa Claus Parade pertaining to the insurance and blocking off of Highway 2? We ran into some problems that last year I don't really want to discuss. So, are you guys into taking care of that or not?
Well,
Basically
hang
involves
on a
supplying
second.
the transportation to close the highway.
Yeah,
And then, of course, the staff walk off the streets.
Chris, let me call the vote for council, okay? We don't have a letter
Right.
on your behalf, but as soon as you finish your presentation, we will craft either some kind of motion to recognize your presentation. Motion will be then you're asking for support for Light Up.
Correct. Just in terms of, like everything else we've agreed to is as is for our understanding, but the parade, the town did not close the highway last year. Through Trish's good work, she did it through other avenues. It was the first time the town did not take on that responsibility. Why they ran away from that, we don't know. And I want to discuss what the possible reasons could be, because I don't know. We're just wondering if you're gonna do that. Brian, you've been involved in it for several times. You know what's involved.
You need
Whoops.
transportation's permission to close the,
Yeah, and
so I don't know how long that process will take, so hopefully if we can speed things up here, if you can get the letter request in right away and we'll send it out right away and then.
Yeah, sorry, I think my mic went off. It's a rubber stamp thing. It's,
Yeah.
they do it in no time at all.
okay, so you will be handling the application to transportation?
No, we're
Or you're
asking.
asking
town
us to do it?
Yeah.
Just to be clear, everybody on this council is brand new, so these processes are totally foreign to us.
Fair enough, yeah. I'll get you a letter by the end of the week for sure. The other thing I just want to let council know, if they were not aware, is that Buchanan Family Foundation gave us $50,000 last year. So we have a 10-year commitment money put aside to fund the purchase of lights for the Civic Square for the next 10 years.
Excellent.
The good news for that is the prices are actually going down. The lights are superior quality. To see them now is to even lights bought 5 years ago or night and day. They are so much brighter and so much better quality. So if you really take a close look at the trees this year, you can tell which ones are new and which ones are old. They just get better and they just get replaced through time. So we're very excited and grateful to the Cannon family for that. And then we got another 20,000 set aside for other future endeavors, which we'll decide moving forward.
Thanks, Chris. I happen to know a bit about the committee because Noella sits on it, and I don't know if anybody has questions, so I'll just go around the table and ask councilors if they have any questions. Dennis, any questions for the committee? Okay, David? No. Bryce? You know about it? Everybody, Herman, Carol, you know all about it? Okay. There's no questions about what you're doing, so everybody must know what you're doing.
Okay, great, thanks. And of course, Dennis will know about it very well because Lynn was the founder of the Light Up Celebration with Grace Berger. They spent literally hundreds, if not thousands of hours sorting lights in the early days when they were bulbs. And they were the ones who really started about, don't tell her I said this, about 30 years ago. Trish, do you have anything to add?
No,
There's Vice Chair.
McIntyre Park, spelled M-A-C.
Yeah, well,
That's it.
it's spelled wrong on the picture.
Is it?
I had mentioned it before, but it never got changed.
Oh,
It's
well, we
MAC.
should correct it.
McIntyre.
I look at those pictures and I can't remember the hospital looking like that.
Yeah.
So I remember the left-hand building, but I don't remember the right-hand building.
In fairness to Mr. Joy, that was brought up before he got here, though. I haven't brought it up since.
Now that I'm aware of it, I will.
Yeah, but it's, yeah, I sit beside, I see it every week. Thanks, good luck to council.
Thank you, Chris. When delegations are complete, that's when we'll form some motions in response to the delegations. Okay? Okay, are there any other scheduled delegations? Are there any public delegations? Volunteers coming forward? Would you please come forward, sir, and identify yourself? Remember, you're on camera.
I'm fine with
Believe it
that.
or not, you'll find yourself on YouTube.
Perfect. I'm Tim Timmermans. I'm an area resident. And the lady at the front desk said today would be the time to come and bring something to your guys' attention. I don't know if you guys noticed the despairing difference between the gas prices from Slave Lake to Peace River to Valley View. We're 13 cents higher just in High Prairie. As of this morning, Slave Lake was 124, Peace River was 124, Valley View is 125. So it makes no sense why we're 13 cents higher in town versus a 45-minute drive down the highway on the same path the fuel truck has to go to fill up all these communities. So I don't know if the town can start pressuring these gas stations to start, coming within at least 3 cents. Because it's not fair to the residents here to have to pay 13 cents more, but they drive to Slave Lake, they save money. It's been like that for the last 2 years. And I don't understand the reason behind it. And maybe there has to be a bylaw put in place that says if you want to do business, you gotta come in within the prices of everybody else around the area. Because it's all everybody's wallets that's affected by 13 cents higher gas prices for no reason.
Okay. I think I can safely say that council isn't in the practice of interfering in the free market. And your comment about the prices, I think, has been echoed by many, but you should realize that you can buy gas in High Prairie for $1.25.4 at U of A. But you have to have a membership.
You know what I mean? And there are a lot
And
of
I
people
don't
that-
know what the co-op prices are.
Yeah, they're about the same. They're up on par, but then their card lock prices in Slave Lake are also 13 cents cheaper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if the town can just pressure Imperial Oil and these people to be like, hey, like this is uncalled for. Like the public can't do anything. The public phones them and they just push it off their shoulder, right? That's what corporations do. But
No, I certainly understand your frustration. I feel it every time I gas up. And my wife shouts it in my ear.
Right? So.
Are there any comments from councillors? Any councillors wish to make comments, just raise your hand. Well, thank you very much for bringing, what was your name? I didn't get it.
Tim Timmermans. I'm a small business owner in the area. Thank you for listening to me and taking the time.
Thank you for coming before us. Appreciate it. Next volunteer to come up to the table and be on YouTube. Anybody want to come forward and ask questions of council? This is your time. You got 5 minutes. Brian, anything?
Not really. I
Okay.
got a few things, but I have to tell, do it with the town, like the back alley on a 47 behind that house.
That sounds like something we want to hear about. Come on up.
You know,
Brian and Pauline, well-known business people. Come on.
okay,
Don't forget to bring Pauline. That way you'll know what to say.
come on. Sure.
You provide her with the
That's
chair,
okay.
please.
Can't sit, I'll stand.
So everybody knows that Brian and Pauline are INP.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian. Thank you. Literally in the 47th Street, this house is, down the back alley on the east side. Where's the old hospital in there? We trying to get, we talked about it like years ago, like, where's, after the hospital moved. There used to be a service road in the back in there for our back alley. We can't get into the back alley in the back. So if you can get like a service, we have to know if you have a service road behind this, where's the old hospital used to be, the service road, like the front hospital, the front door, the hospital.
Do you guys know where we're talking about?
Yeah.
Does everybody know?
This behind your house?
So basically where our house is, in the back, there used to be the entire hospital, right? And there used to be a parking lot. And there used to be a little bit of a way for us to go to the back. So if ever we wanted to cut down the wood, we can put it into our trailer, so we can't get through the front. So that back little bit of alleyway no longer is an alleyway.
Even,
It's all grass now.
and also, if possible, like, we can have a parking lot in the back of that area. You know, these lots is a big lot, and there's a lot of room in the back in there. So we have no advantage of it, like, we can't do anything if you don't have a road in the back. So we're gonna find out that one.
Is it
Well-
possible to put an access?
Any questions from any of the councillors? I think we're gonna wind up referring this to the CAO for staff response, because,
Okay.
were you also talking about the condition of the back alley? Or just the fact that it's
There's no
disappeared?
back.
It's disappeared.
No, there's nothing, no road, no service road. We can't get into the back. We have to go right in the front. So we have no access to the back, so that's, and
Okay.
then they follow the private.
Herman, any comments or questions?
Just one quick question. When the existence before with the hospital was there, was it an actual alley there or was that still hospital ground, say then for many people to use and for that purpose?
Just was a road in there. We can,
But was it owned by the town or was it, you don't know?
we don't know. That's why we're gonna find out. That's,
That's right, but.
yeah, that's where we need you to find out what's going on if we can get a access to the back. Actually, all these houses on 47, they need that access to the
Yeah.
back.
I understand. I got the same problem where I'm at 43rd Street.
That's the problem. That's one of the thing.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from council? Thank you, Brian. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Pauline, for coming forward.
I don't think you're ever wrong, but because it access to me, this is the problem.
Any other public delegations? Anything else? Okay, then, we will move on to the agenda. Item number 3, peace officers report. Thanks for coming, sir.
Evening, council. I hope everybody's doing well. I don't really have much to add.
Just introduce yourself first, okay?
Sorry. So my name is Brady. I'm a community peace officer here at the town of High Prairie. I've been here for just a little over 6 months now. I started back in February. Prior to moving here with the town of High Prairie, I worked for Alberta Health Services for 3.5 years, working inside of the hospitals, dealing with mental health issues and patients.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't really have too much to add kind of onto my peace officer's report. It was completed last week. Since it was sent in and added to the agenda package, we did locate 2 more homeless encampments that were deconstructed and taken care of. We also had 1 more arrest / ticket for trespassing. And then one thing that I just wanted to add was Big Lakes County finally hired a bylaw officer, so we're no longer assisting them with additional hours. We're back to our normal 20.5 hours that we allocate to the county every month. The rest of the hours are spent here in town, patrolling and trying to make this community better.
You use the word arrest / arrest. What are the powers of a bylaw enforcement officer?
So the powers of a bylaw enforcement officer are to enforce the municipal bylaws, rules and regulations that council has put forth for the town. So unsightly properties, vegetation issues, long grass, parking issues, trespassing issues. There's a lot more, unfortunately, sorry, it's been a long day, a bit of a tough day for me, so I'm not 100% here today, but yeah, if you would like to stop over at my office anytime, I welcome all of the counselors to come in. I would be more than willing to.
No, that's why we have you come to us.
For sure. I know, I just wanted to mention that as well. I mentioned it to the last council that my door is always open, everybody's always welcome.
Well, let me create for you a possible scenario. In your travels around town, you see someone breaking into a residence. What are your powers?
I call it CP. I do not have the authority to arrest somebody under a criminal charge.
So your powers are limited to basically observe and report.
Provincial legislation. So anything that the Alberta government has in place, so the Alberta Gaming and Liquor Act, the Alberta Trespass and Premises Act, Petty Trespass Act, Dangerous Dogs and Animals Act, Tobacco Smoking and Vaping Reduction Act. I could be here all day listing every single act that the province of Alberta has. The town of High Prairie applies for certain specific authorities, and I get what's called a peace officer appointment. So on that peace officer appointment, the list of those certain acts are added on there, and only those certain acts I can take action on.
Okay. You've given us a pretty detailed statistical report. Are there any questions from any of the counselors? This is an interesting report. There's trend lines that you might want to question. Just raise your hand if you want to ask them a question. Go ahead, Carol.
Hey Brady,
Hi, Carol.
my question to you would be, I know when I talk to a lot of the residents, they're concerned about the hours that the peace officers are patrolling. Do you, like, who sets your schedule, and do you guys patrol like early in the morning, like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning?
Yes, so I set the schedule every month. I talk with my counterpart and we work out what kind of works for us. I mean, obviously, we work with the town as well. We make sure that we cover the hours that we need to cover, but for ease of access, we talk amongst ourselves. We go through it and then we just kind of make the schedule based off of what we can figure out and talk about there. We've been splitting up our shifts. We've been working very early mornings. There's been some mornings where I've started as early as 3 a.m. There's some night shifts where I've worked as late as 3 a.m. when I first started here, it was a large concern from the residents, or at least from what I understood, that, there was no law enforcement coverage overnight and in the early mornings. So I took that upon myself to change the schedule and start working those early mornings, late evenings. Me and Edwin are only two people, so we can, unfortunately only do as much as we can. But we're trying.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other counselors have a question? None? Well, thank you very much for your report and thanks for submitting it in written form so we can look at it before the meeting.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
If you would like me to change the way of the reports so that it's easier for you guys or provides more information, just let me know.
The deputy mayor's got a comment.
No, I don't. The report is good. The way it is, I think.
I find some interesting trend lines in here. It'll be interesting to see, as you fill in the last couple columns, how the year looks. And particularly if we're able to compare that to the previous year.
Yeah.
But it looks like there's a lot of activity, so I commend you for that. And Councillor Hanlon's right. The community's actually quite concerned about the apparent blind spot in the schedule from 4 till 8 in the morning. We appreciate all of your action to close that blind spot. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, we should catch up on our motions. We had a presentation from the beautification committee requesting the town's support for light up. And we had a presentation on concern about gas prices. And we had a presentation of a concern about either the existence or non-existence of a back alley that needs to be looked at. So let's start off with the beautification. For lack of a better way to start, I would entertain a motion to express town council's support for the light up night. Any comment, motion?
I can try and make a word a quick one together. I think basically, it's just basically the town council accepts the presentation by beautification. And that in regards to the request regarding the winter light up, that they provide the assistance with the highway shutdown and staff to look after that. And what was the second part of that, Chris? Sorry. Was the second part? That
Yeah,
was it for this time?
I'm just using a very general wording that our CEO.
I just want to make sure you get that one, and then also that we will accept the letter for request of additional services, and we will entertain that at a future meeting once we have a chance to look at all the requests.
Yeah, the agreement with.
Yes, agreed,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's not before us anyway. So I entertain a motion then to express our support to the beautification committee for the light up. Are you nodding? Yes. Yep. Moved by Councillor Duff. Any further comments or questions and reservations about it, Carol?
Now, as a member of this committee, do I declare a conflict of interest on voting?
I don't see a pecuniary conflict, no.
Yep.
Otherwise, I might have to because Noella sits on that too. And you can't be in conflict with beautification, can you? Is that a conflict?
It's everybody on the salary.
All those in favor of expressing our support for communication, thank you very much. The CEO will translate all of that into action. Gas prices, there's not a lot we could do. I think that it's beyond our power to have bylaws setting consumer prices anyway. But I must admit, it is a generally expressed concern. And it's a comment I personally often hear about people saying, I could go shopping somewhere else and saving on the gas and pay for the trip. But I do need to point out that the U of A has very competitive prices. It's the open systems that need to compete perhaps more aggressively. So no motion on that one. IMP, can we leave it at the CEO finding out? We don't even know if it's town land.
Yeah.
And there's nothing we can do about it, Brian, until we find out who owns your back alley. And if we own the back alley, then I think your request will be honored. But if the hospital land owns that, there's not much we can do then, okay? Well, thanks for coming forward anyway. On the peace officers report, I rolled that into the public delegation, sorry by mistake. Accept a motion to accept the peace officer report for information. Carmen, remember, a report for information says we're putting it in the file, but we're not taking any action on it. Okay, all those in favor of filing it? Carried. Moving on then to the minutes of a meeting that none of us attended. 5.1. However, we have to go through the formality to provide the continuity. Okay, I will entertain a motion to adopt the minutes of the regular meeting of council for September 23rd. David, Councillor Temple, any questions or comments? Anything that's in there? I have a few. This would be there 8.6 on page 9. Council directs administration to determine if trained counselors could sit on the ISDAB board, and if not, send the information, et cetera, et cetera. Was that determination made?
Yeah. Yes.
What's the answer?
Councilors cannot be on the ISDA board. The terms of reference were changed last November and approved unanimous approval by the previous council that only members of the public can be residents of High Prairie can be appointed by council on the board.
So the upshot is councillors trained or untrained are not eligible to sit on the board, okay? On 14.1, I had a question. It was correspondence received for information. The Caribou Center grand reopening celebration. What was that? Who is the Caribou Center grand? The Caribou Center Youth, I got an idea who it is, but I'm not sure. Who is that? I'm gonna have to look at the press for you.
They're in Grand Prairie, apparently. Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's not a local.
No, it's not.
Okay, because I know somebody who's working on something.
That's right.
Item 14.5, the council will write a letter of support for Heart River Housing to the Ministry of Housing that they keep their 25-point system, and that council will see if they can get a meeting with the Minister of Housing at the Alberta Municipality Convention. First off, what is the 25-point system, and was a letter written?
Yeah, a letter wasn't written yet. I'm
Okay.
gonna have to do that. And the 25-point system I'll bring to council. The letter, I can't remember the details of it right now, but I can provide that information to council.
Okay, and you and I are going to Calgary to attend this convention, and we will do our best to meet with the minister on this topic, but
Right.
ministers' schedules are very crammed,
Yeah.
so there's no guarantee that we'll be able to meet with them.
That's right.
That was all the questions or comments I had. Anything that councillors noted of interest before we act on the motion? None? All those in favor of adopting these minutes, say aye. Aye, then it's done. Carried. Okay, moving on to a huge pile of paper, 6.2, the 2025 employee wage and benefits compensation review.
6.1, 6.1.
So,
There can't.
no, 6.1 we deleted from the agenda.
Okay, I'm sorry.
6.2. We don't have page numbers for these things, okay. that's
Page
fine.
14.
That starts on page 14 and runs forever.
Page 101.
Yeah. So it's, from page 14 to 101. You all get a gold star if you read every page. I cannot claim a gold star. This is a particularly weighty topic. I don't know how we would even start investigating this topic. It's my recommendation that we defer this to our committee of the whole meeting. The next committee of the whole will be what?
Well, we're going on conferences in November, so it would normally be November 18th because
We're gone there, aren't we?
so we're gone and we're in Edmonton at that time.
So
So
remember that we meet every second and fourth Tuesday, and I have asked you to keep all intervening Tuesdays open so we can call committees of the whole. Okay? I would entertain a motion to defer this to the next committee of the whole meeting. Now, if you don't want to make that motion, then we have to jump into this page by page.
if I might interject a little bit, I know you want the meetings to be on a Tuesday. But if we want to address this in time for us drafting an operating budget, might I suggest at least make an exception this time to have it on a Monday or a Wednesday? And then we can discuss it fully in committee of the whole. Otherwise, just the way everything's working out in November, it could be at the end of November before we talk about this.
No, I appreciate that this drives a significant, potentially could drive a significant chunk of the operating budget. And I don't want to delay it. We can always chop a couple hours off of a regular meeting and deal with this.
That's even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we could deal with it within 2 hours for sure.
And if there's time this evening, we could go into committee of the whole and start into it right away tonight. Okay? But I just don't see how we're gonna sit around and get into this amount of detail in a formal meeting. Counselor Minderline?
Just as a maybe suggestion, if we're looking at doing it prior to the meetings, we have the 18th as a regular council meeting. If we were scheduled that meeting to begin at 5 o'clock, everybody would be able to do that. We could do the committee of the whole.
We're away.
Or you're away the 18th, so
Yeah. We have
we're gonna meeting on the 4th.
the rural, it could be on the 4th, but if we finish here, if we finish here in a timely manner, which we could easily do, we could start on it tonight. So back to it, entertain a motion to defer to the next committee of the whole meeting. Councilor Temple, any further questions on it, concerns or any reservations? None? All those in favor? Aye. Moving directly into the next one, which is the equivalent. The compensation review of the CAO, and I think we've exhausted the discussion. Then I would entertain a motion to defer this to the next committee of the whole meeting. Councillor Shunter, all those in favor? Carried. Moving ahead. I like quick meetings. Museum transition services. Again, it could be perceived that I might have a bit of a bias in this one. I love museums. The family has donated items to this museum, and my wife in fact sat on the museum board. So,
You want to make a motion?
huh?
You want me to make a motion?
So it's a good one. Brian, the deputy mayor wants to make a motion.
Move that council direct administration to conduct a search for a full-time curator for the museum and have event organization experience and administrative visitors information services.
And I didn't even have to pay him for that one. Thank you. Comments? Go ahead, Brian. You want to speak to the motion?
No, it's weird sitting up here as a counselor now that we always used to, make the motion and then discuss the issues, so. And each individual counselor during our times read out the actual motion instead of you doing it, you're.
I don't mind speeding it up. Whatever.
Can I speak to this before? Yeah, we've been both, Wendy and myself have been working with the museum board as they're transitioning, and really the decision for council is how active do we want the museum level of service to be? With a full-time curator, the advantage to that is that we would expect that curator would also be a good event organizer. It's a beautiful building on the inside. We could, as the museum board has told us, they have had events there in the past that have been successful. With a part-time curator, it could be harder to find somebody to do it 3 days a week. And the expectation of holding events is probably less that we could burden that person with. We conducted the museum survey just to see the interest in the community. And the survey results were not very favorable as far as people interested in visiting the museum. So, we can say this could be a fresh start. Maybe we can find somebody that's dynamic and that we can combine also the level of service of the Visitor Information Center and combine that into the museum. It used to be there before. And we'd have to hire a summer student, probably seasonal. But that's an option, and there has been some discussion about the library and library services in there also. So I put that in front of council. A full-time curator. I don't anticipate paying as much as the museum board did, but it would have to be up there a little bit to attract probably somebody coming straight out of university and getting some experience. Full time.
Okay. Brian, you want to speak to the motion?
No.
Good. Anybody else want to speak to the motion?
Basically, as long as you said, with the hiring the curator, there's no much difference for the budget. That's the main thing I'd be concerned, how much it's gonna affect the budget. So we're just doing the hiring for that, then there's no budget effect. If we are doing the visitor information center, it's noticed you said it depends on what level of service we do. And then I guess it would also depend if we're able to get funding for the students, should that happen. I know before, where I've been at, the visitor information center, we had provincial money available. But so I guess if we're looking at this in the future, I guess we should have how much it's going to affect us, budget wise, get an actual dollar numbers.
And I identified that in one of the attachments, the actual scenarios are there. Full-time should not, I believe, if I remember correctly. Find it. There it is.
110.
Yeah, so full-time, we would be basically the same cost.
The $93,400 figure?
That's right. So we would be running, we wouldn't have very much of a deficit, depending on the, we're going to get a grant from the county, that'll continue. But we're not paying that 93,400 now. It's through the salary at probably at around 81,000. Full-time curator, what they used to pay is 96,000. But the activity, the volume of visitors is, I think the last time I heard, is about 700 during the year. So not very many. It might be during the summer, it might be 2 or 3 in a day. So it's a lot of quiet time in that museum. But how, whether council believes administration can create some interest or have that curator create some interest, that's a possibility. it's really, you know, we have to hire the right person. So that's the crucial part to this, for the success. If we just want to maintain the museum as a presence, then council can go with a part-time curator. Wendy does get calls once in a while to ask if we can open up the museum. She goes over there once a week. But sometimes outside of that particular day, she'll get a call for a family that wants to go in and see some of the artifacts that they've donated to the museum, things like that. But it is nice in there. We could hold events in there. And the museum board, I mean, it's their passion. And even though they're stepping away, I know that they will assist us and check in sometimes if we need assistance. I don't know if this helps answer.
Any questions? Bryce?
So I was gonna ask what the number of was, because I was sure I read 700 in here, so
Yeah.
thank you for that. The cost of well over $90,000 to operate it divided by 700 visitors is a cost to taxpayers of $135 per visitor. And I'd ask council if that's an effective use of taxpayer dollars.
Any other questions or comments? Councillor Hammond?
Yeah. So, when I was looking through this today, I noticed that there's a lot of responses, on that survey that was done. And there's some really good ideas in here, and I think if like, the CAO said, if we get the right person and they incorporate some of these ideas, I think we could, offset some of our costs. Because there was one where, their comment at a little coffee bar or ice cream stand, hold special events, do crafts there. Another comment that was noted was there's no sign anywhere that says whether it's open or closed. So that could presented a problem. And then the other big concern would be, there's a lot of homeless people that are always hanging around out front there. So I think we would have to somehow try to stop that as well.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other comments? I have a few comments just to provide some context. The museum has only been open, I think, 3 days a week when Darlene Adams was a curator, Monday through Wednesday. And she took the Thursday, Friday for training courses and for basically curating the collection. If you've been in there, haven't been in there for a while, it's actually a very large collection that requires curation. The other problem, of course, and that's already been identified by Councillor Hamlin, is that in the homeless in the community tend to gravitate there. And as a result, the curator kept the front door locked and it just pushed the button to ring and then she'd come and open it, okay? So that in itself is going to reduce the visitation rates. You've already pointed out, there's no obvious sign on the highway for anybody driving through to say, there's a museum there. I think there is a community information function that could be done there. I'm assuming by your presentation, the CAO, that it is the 93,400 is within the capacity of the current operating budget.
And that's correct.
Any other questions or comments on the motion?
Dan, maybe you can comment on it, but is there any way to maybe shift the exhibits to the library, or maybe we support the Grouard Museum and move the exhibits there? And then we're maintaining the exhibits without maintaining the building.
It's an interesting option. The Grouard Museum no longer exists. Okay? It was a service provided by Northern Lakes College, and Northern Lakes College is no longer in Burrard. What appears and may very well be duplicate usage of buildings is of interest, because we have a museum and we have a library, and we have half of this building open, empty, or rather out for rent, and the top half of what's locally known as the Mooseless Building. So I think those are considerations for some future discussion. I think one of the problems that we need to address also is there a governance need for the museum? There's a governance for the library, and the county appoints members to it, I believe, and certainly makes a contribution to the library. The county also contributes to the museum. In fact, the county has a fairly generous, it contributes to all of its museums, and it's like Canuso and everywhere. But right now, there is no shared governance as far as I understand. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So that's another issue that we may want to sometime in the future address as well. Any other questions or comments? Any interesting points to raise? If not, then on the motion as read, all those in favor, raise your hands. Opposed? Carried. Moving on, where are we? Capital project. Capital project to 124. This is about the AV system. One of the problems I have with doing the motion first is that then we wind up voting on the CAO's choice. But the CEO offers 3 different options and then offers one as recommended, okay? So if you're going to vote, or if you're going to make the motion, you're not tied to the recommended one. That needs to be clear. If you would like to make a motion and it isn't the one that's recommended, but rather one of the options that the CEO has generated for it, that's totally legitimate. Okay? Entertain a motion then on the AV. You go ahead.
Okay, the council approved an additional 2025 capital project in amount of $90,000 to be funded from unrestricted reserves, and that council award the request for proposal.
Excuse me, not 90, 125.
I'm giving you a different.
He's making his motion. It'll be interesting.
Number 02, 2025, council chambers audiovisual system upgrade to PJS Systems Incorporated. For the supply and installation of audiovisual system upgrades.
Okay, the deputy mayor has made the motion, and please note that the motion stipulates an expenditure of $90,000. The CEO, please give us the background to this.
Can I have my manager of finance, because she's been dealing with the communication between all 4.
Okay, our communications expert then.
That's right. Sorry to put me on the spot.
So for this system, we had recommended Matrix Video because they were actually the only company out of the 4 that come down to Chambers here and looked at everything that we have and know exactly what we're looking for and what we need to be able to function properly at these council meetings, and so that we can also stream them a little better than what we've been doing here on YouTube. These
other companies have basically just put in a guess at what we require. So what I'm worried about is that they're gonna come in, yes, they give us a quote, but they're gonna come in after and say, oh, well, you probably need this too. So actually the price is gonna go up. This is why we recommended Matrix Video.
And with it, if I can interject, the county used Matrix to put in their system, which is very good, very reliable, easy to use, good for the audience, and the council chambers reconfigure the television screens and the cabling and everything else. So that's why we selected the highest bid, really, for reliability. We've had trouble with our council meetings and the quality of the video and audio and unreliability where it would cut out, especially if somebody was remoting in virtually and doing a PowerPoint presentation. It was very spotty. And when you have a guest or a consultant that's doing a presentation and it's interrupted and it's embarrassing, and so we're looking for the most reliable. So we have confidence, and I really like what the county has accomplished with their audio visual. So that's why we thought this is the best choice to make.
They did their homework.
They did their homework.
Okay then, from councilors, any questions or comments? Let me pose the question to the mover. Why did you choose 90,000?
I just looked at the difference in the pricing, for one thing. And it's probably a difference of $30,000+ for the system, and we're in here twice a month, 3 times a month. Seems like a bit of excess, but my thoughts.
Any other questions or comments?
Your worship, just that, having been involved with the town and in this specific, in position here before as the CEO and the treasurer, this has always been a headache. Even when we first got these microphone systems, we used to have, real dog's breakfast trying to get things going. This was a step up. I know over having attended the council meetings at the county or committee meetings over there, the system there is very good. I think getting the work done by a group that's familiar with it, actually took the time to come look at it. I think that's important. I've seen too many contractors come in, put a bid in, and they come over the bid. We've approached this before, and then we have to turn around and give them more money for something we didn't necessarily want in the first place. They don't have everything all forward. This other group here seems to have done their homework. We've had a group, was it the review of the bids was done by staffing?
That's right.
Who was it?
And myself and Shannon.
Okay, so we did have staff review it. And so this is what they're proposing to us. So sometimes you get what you pay for, is what I would say. We're not gonna get something that's gonna work for us or be able to provide the information to our residents through their online, or whether it's somebody from province, we've got a minister coming in via the phone or the video and trying to talk to us, and we have to sit there, we can't hear them, or we can see them, or we can't hear them, or can hear them but can't see them. It's embarrassing that way also. It's our.
Okay, any other comments from any other councilors? I'll just make a comment, as I've said before, I spent about 6 months sitting back in the corner there. And from a spectator point of view, the sound system that we have in here is intolerable. It's, and it may be the fact that I have hearing aids and stuff, but I found it very difficult often to follow the ordinary conversation around this table, and sometimes even the presentation at that delegation table where, say, Darla is sitting right now. So, but she's probably got better ears than I do anyways. Any further comments or questions? Okay. The motion then on the $90,000 expenditure, let me ask the question. $90,000 will cover which proponent? Are we, just for clarification, Brian, are we suggesting that we negotiate with Matrix for 90,000, or we go to the next proponent who will do it for the 90,000?
We make the bid for, or the motion for 90,000 to cover extras. But go with the PJS system.
Okay, and then we should have some comment about the PJS system. We've heard about the virtues of the Matrix video system. What are the virtues of the PJS system? Did they come up and do anything or what? Go ahead.
They asked a couple questions by email, but other than that, that was the extent of their homework that they did.
So they didn't come and instrument this room?
No.
They acoustically measure it?
No.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
And the second group, that RJS, is it PJS, did they provide a listing of what was included in the quote? So listed the video portion, what type of machinery they had, what same as the speaker systems. Did they have everything in there that we would need, or was comparable to what the other group had?
There was some stuff I'd say that was missing compared to Matrix. They all had a listing of kind of what they would use. But some of them are comparable to what Matrix was providing us.
Just to test your memory then, do you remember any particular deficiencies or differences between the equipment list that was submitted by PJS and the equipment list submitted by Matrix?
So you're really testing my memory. Specifically, no. There was one that stood out compared to what Matrix was providing us. So we had asked for a screen here in front of council so that you guys aren't turning around to watch presentations behind you on the TVs. There was one proponent that did not even have that option. But as for compared to PGS, no, my memory is not there for exactly what they provided and what Matrix did.
Okay, any further questions or comments? On the motion then, understanding that the effect of the motion is not only to change the amount allocated to it, but to also to change supplier from Matrix to PJS, as long as we understand them. Okay? All those in favor of the motion as made, raise your hands. All those opposed? Sorry, Brian. The motion is defeated. Now what?
Second motion?
I would have to accept another motion we have to draw a line under this agenda item. You're gonna give it a try?
Yeah, I'll just leave it out as is. Option number one, the council approve an additional 2025 capital project in the amount of $125,000 to be funded from the unrestricted reserves, and the council award RFP 022025 council chambers audiovisual system upgrade to Matrix Video Communications Corporation for the supply and installation of the audio-visual system upgrades.
Thank you. We've already had CAO providing us with context, but I want to add something to it. The motion made by the deputy mayor should be remembered by administration that we will not necessarily accept your recommendations. And that when we ask you for information, you have to remember also the information of the other competitor. Okay. Any other questions or comments? I think it's a good test case personally. I thank you for it.
It opens it for discussion.
No. Okay, on the motion made by Councillor Minderheim, all those in favor? Carry. Moving on to signing authority. Well, anybody willing to read this one off? I don't see a lot of possible amendments to it. Go ahead.
I'd like to make the motion as recommended. If that's okay with council? Everybody else a chance to read it?
Any questions or comments about it? Anybody want to keep some of the old councilors' signing authority alive? I didn't think so. All those in favor? Carried. Oh, here's a fun one. The Intermunicipal Subdivision Development Appeal Board and their applicants. And there is a option. And we have two options and we need a mover to select the option they would like to put up for discussion. You can do that.
The council approved Sheldon Bover and Andrew Wagner to be on the ISBAB.
In the future, I know that it's that much more work, but please don't use too many acronyms, particularly for the brand new counselors. I had to go and look up to see what ISABB was when I first ran into the acronym. Okay. Questions or comments about these? And perhaps the CEO can give us a little bit of background on this particular board.
Yes, and certainly we've had an experience just recently with the intermunicipal subdivision development appeal board. Because it was difficult to, what we're running into when we had an appeal hearing. The very first hearing had to be postponed because one of the three, and they traveled from Grand Prairie and elsewhere. One of the three had a conflict of interest with the complainant of in the appeal. And then the second hearing, one of the board members had to attend a wildfire, so we didn't have quorum there. It would be more convenient to have local members at large, not a council member, but local members, resident in the town available, so that we'll always have quorum if it comes up again. So we did advertise and we only received 2 replies, which are attached here. And I think they both look acceptable. One provided a letter explaining his background and the other provided a full resume. But when I read through it, it all looked acceptable to me. But the council may have other opinions.
Any comments anywhere? Anybody want to introduce himself from the public?
Do I have to come up there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you wander in this building just because the doors are open, doesn't mean to say we don't make you work.
Good evening, Mayor and council members, congrats on the new election win. I came tonight to basically introduce myself. So I've been a town resident here for, just over 25 years. And I think before I volunteered to work this election, I think I'd been in this building 3 times. So not a lot of interaction with the town as a local authority. So I saw the advertisement and decided to throw my name in the hat, and recently retired. And if you'll need to see a resume, I brought a copy along just in case, but so I'm interested in.
And he was an excellent municipal election volunteer.
Yeah, and so my background is civil engineering technology. I've done various work in various places for about 31 years. So, but I'm kind of done with that. So.
Thank you very much. And thank you not only for applying, but coming here tonight. Appreciate it.
And
any other questions on this motion?
Worship. Just one quick question for David again. Regarding the members that are appointed, they do have to go, undertake a provincial run. It's quite a, that's a, whatever, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
It's not that they just gets put in there and they have all background certification first. It's not board.
Okay. Any other questions or comments, points to be raised? Thank you very much for coming forward. All those in favor of the motion? Carried. Moving on then to the library. We're now on to page 138, appointment to the library board. Somebody want to make a motion on this appointment? Brian, did you volunteer? Thanks.
The council approved the appointment of Big Lakes County resident Rose Donor to the High Prairie Municipal Library to serve as a member at large for a 3-year term.
Thank you. Her letter is right there. Are there any questions about this?
To our CAO, they rotate, still rotating their memberships at the library.
Yeah, I believe they do.
Yeah, they're on for.
But for her, you know, she keeps coming back to be a trustee, so I don't know how much of a turnover and rotating they do, but they aren't an empty board thing.
Any other comments that you wish to make?
No.
Okay. On this appointment, all those in favor? Carried. Oh, that brings us, we're getting, in some sense, to an end. The,
Page 141.
yeah, just trying to make sure I don't lose myself. 8.4. Tag these pages.
See,
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do that too. A motion then on the Community Peace Officer Contract Services Agreement. Anybody wish to make a motion? Do I have a volunteer? Thank you, Brian.
the council will commit to providing a 3-year, multi-year agreement for the services of community peace officer with a term from January 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2029.
Thank you. This is the renewal then of a contract that is already in existence. Any comments, context? Go ahead.
Page 145, I believe it is. I went to the cost of the agreement. It was $60 an hour for the peace officer and $67 for the vehicle. I just wondered if a new agreement could reflect maybe increases and slight increases over the 3-year term, or
Well, certainly I could go back to them and see if we can adjust those rates.
that was my only thought. I don't know what the other councils.
Do you want it higher or lower?
Take your guess. Any questions or comments speaking for or opposed to? Councillor Shunter?
I very much agree with you, Brian, about the cost per hour. I'm also hesitant to vote on a 3-year term, just because of the crime rate in High Prairie. I'd be more comfortable with a shorter term, rather than locking our peace officers into a 3-year commitment.
Any other comments?
Just one quick question. I haven't read the contract, but David, is there a chance that if something was to happen down the road, to say a year and a half from now, something happened here, we had to back out of the, even if we lose services of the bylaw officer for a period of time, would we be able to back out of the contract, or are we tied to it?
No, I mean, we'd have to live to the agreement.
Okay, so, and there's nothing put in here for inflation at all since from the last contract?
I'll have to look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can go along with that too, with the dollars. There is some.
Any other comments? Go ahead.
I got one more. Was there anything you ever looked at since you've been here, David, about them hiring another peace officer and falling under their High Prairie umbrella.
You mean us hiring an additional?
Well, I'm not saying us, but if they wanna fund somebody in the 3 municipalities to the west there, and I
Yeah,
don't know if that's ever been discussed with them or
I
not.
haven't heard of any such discussions.
I,
Any other comments? Carol?
Well, I guess my question is, now, the peace officer that was here earlier with his report indicated that Big Lakes, has now hired a peace officer. Does that assist, bylaw officer, does that assist us any?
Yes, like it relieves us of having to go out there if required. That's a good thing.
I believe if you remember the number, it releases, what was it, 25.5 hours to, back to the town.
That's right.
Okay, so then with this peace officer contract, now, do we get extra money for this because it goes into, Polaire, McLennan, Donnelly, and Jeruville? Or is this totally funded by us and they only pay the wage when our peace officer is in their community?
Well, we get the total monthly fee of 2,032. Yeah, so basically, they're paying us for that service for us to go out there.
So are there specified hours in the same way that the bylaw officer was able to say 25.5 hours released from the county? Are there specific hours that we're getting at?
2 8-hour shifts per month are divided between 4 communities.
Go ahead.
So that hours that is referred to in Article 5.2 of the agreement, that includes the travel back and forth in between? Or- Okay, so that's from the time they leave here in this building to head to, let's say, Jeruville.
Yep.
And back, they're on the clock.
Yeah.
Get paid for it, okay.
Any other comments? I'd like to make a comment. I share Councillor Shunter's concern about this one. This was a hot topic in the campaign, at least from my listening to people. And there was a lot of concern expressed about why can't our bylaw enforcement officers, sort of fill the gap that is left by the RCMP. And that's why I asked the bylaw enforcement officer when he made his report what his scope of authority was. That if he had the scope of authority that I think that our residents are asking for, that they're asking for people with the scope of authority to in fact apprehend people in the commission of a crime. And it would appear that our bylaw enforcement officers don't have that authority. But it still is a item. Now, I'm of the opinion that if we're basically renting out our bylaw enforcement officers, that should give us the revenue to in fact cover off that. If this works out to be a half-time out to the West End, then that should be giving us the revenue to buy an extra half-time bylaw enforcement officer, cover off. I'm actually of the opinion that we should be notifying them and working with them and saying, either we work together and we take that money and increase the rates so that they're more in tune with current costs. I'm actually of the opinion that this contract should be for 6 months, just enough to give them time to get together, their 3 or 4 authorities. But I appreciate that they're in a difficult situation and that they personally don't have any experience recruiting and supervising and governing this particular service. So I'll back off the 6 months, but I do think 3 months is, 3 years is excessive. But we'll let the democratic process take care of that one. Like the deputy allowed his previous one to be submitted to the democratic process. Any further questions or comments? Okay, at the motion then, as read, All those in favor, raise your hand.
Could I just ask one quick question? Was that for 1 year or for 3 years?
It's the 3-year one, isn't it? Yeah. It's the option 2 as read. That's important.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor of option, the 3-year option as read, raise your hands. All those opposed? I hope this isn't too aggressive. Okay, well, we need another motion then. Got to draw a line under this, and I want to get through this meeting so we can get into committee of the whole. I think it's clear that we aren't intending to sever our relationship with the communities to the west, but we do want to reduce the length of our commitment. So somebody come up with either a 1 or 2 year motion, and let's get on with it.
That, I just take that motion with 1 year, but also direct administration to review the rates to make sure that they are current and cover the cost of providing the service. Put that wording in there, David? Yep.
And in the same way that this 3-year one came up for renewal, it's quite possible the 1-year one will do likewise. Are you making the motion for the 1 year?
For the 1 year, but also to have administration verify the rates to make sure they're actually current.
Okay. Any comments on the 1 year option?
1 year is still too long.
Understand, so people think that.
Okay. Any comments? All those in favor of the 1 year option? All those opposed? Carry. Okay, we're moving on to 13.1.
Page 48.
Skipping over these, my fingers aren't sufficient. Okay, we're on to page 148. CAO report and action list.
The past month has been totally absorbed with the election. When I do future CAO reports, I'm going to provide a little more descriptive issues or challenges that I faced, just to make you aware. But certainly in the past month, and we haven't had a council meeting in a month. I just listed, what was done day to day, but the election took over in October, and there's really, and some personnel issues I had to deal with, and there's not really too much else that I can tell you at this point. Previous council did ask for my timesheets. I don't know if the current council wants me to continue this. I do keep track of it just so that I'm aware the kind of overtime that I have been working, but other than that, if council doesn't want to see this, it doesn't need to be part of this report.
Okay, there's a motion as read. Somebody might want to make the motion accepting this report for information. Mr. Hanlon. Remember, it's for information. There's no action required here. The CAO commented on the parts of his report and being the timesheet in that. Any comments on the information provided? None. All those in favor of adopting it for information? All those opposed? Carried. No, council information including, no, great. We have 5 pieces of correspondence. Is this correspondence actually addressed to town council?
More or less it is, it's.
Or at least the intent it is.
Yeah, that council should be aware that he received correspondence that really council, as a courtesy, should be aware of. And whether you want us to respond to the different letters or act upon them, so it's important that council review this and decide what they want to do with each letter or just accept it for information.
Well, this is one of these cases where motion to accept for information literally says we're not acting on any of these. And I suggest that we may very well want to act on some of these, particularly the first one. So let's, instead of having a umbrella motion, let's take them one at a time. Is somebody prepared to take a motion, adopt a motion in response to the letter from Métis District 21?
I'd like to make the motion that council authorize the CAO to advise Métis District 21 that we will be raising the flag for that 1 week for the first, as requested.
Any questions or comments on that? Carol?
I did want to make a comment that, my understanding is that we do have a flag raising, policy. So, I believe administration could take care of that instead of it coming to us. Just wanted to find that out.
Excellent point, excellent point. Is there a flag raising policy?
There is,
Would it automatically cover this and without taking up our time?
it would.
Good. All those in favor of the motion? Raise your hands. Carry. Moving on to the impact of unpaid oil and gas property taxes. Some background on this one, CEO?
Not really, but it is an issue all over Alberta, BC. So again, they're just asking for us to write a letter, I believe, to in support of holding the oil and gas companies' feet to the fire.
Motion. Go ahead.
Just one other thing, even though this applies to the MD of 130, because the town they're all involved in that area. This does apply to us as far as the county here with Big Lakes, because they also run into the same problem. All the counties run into the same problem. There's companies there that fold up, walk away from the responsibilities, and they're left with millions of dollars. And this does affect the municipalities because they provide through ICF funding, et cetera, where they share projects or give us capital funding and that, and they'll back up and say, oh, we can't do that anymore because we're losing X number of dollars every year because the taxes not being paid.
Okay, if somebody,
If not to be
there to make a
sending it,
motion to send a letter of support?
I wouldn't say so unless we were being asked by the county here. This is them working with the people there in Edmonton on behalf of what MD 130. So just.
Is that a motion to accept for information?
Yes,
Take your pick. Which one?
receive for information.
Motion was made to receive this for information. That means file, no action. All those in favor? Carried. Moving on to the next one, Slave Lake Tourism. Some background here.
Again, we're part of the Regional Tourism Society. So, again, it's providing them with a letter of support for application or a letter of support for the application.
She a member of this number.
Yeah.
And we're a member of this body.
We are a member of this
Yeah.
one.
Entertain a motion then. How do we dispose of this letter?
That council direct administration to send a letter of support to the Slave Lake Regional Tourism Society in their grant application.
Any questions or comments about this one? All of those in favor of sending a letter of support? Opposed? Carried. Let's see, Village of Don. Anybody how do we dispose of this letter? Go ahead.
Your worship, I'd like to make a motion, we just accept this for information. Reasoning for that motion, if you wish to put in, is we did, as a council, previous council did meet with Masqua here in council chambers. They made a presentation, and at that time, the council from the town of High Prairie did provide a letter of support to Masqua. Just received for information.
Okay. Motion to receive this letter for information. All those in favor? Carried. Moving on then to the communication, the Canada Post mandate review. How do we want to proceed to dispose of this letter? They're asking for our support. Background?
Not much background other than what I read in the news. This is, do we come out in favor of supporting the union or the Corporation Canada Post, recognizing that Canada Post is running a significant deficit? I'm not sure if we want to pick sides on this one.
Any questions or comments? Motion was made for information. Any questions or comments? The mandate review will be interesting because I think one of the things that's up is to cease all urban home delivery and go to mailbox. Wow, what an innovation for us. Eh? All those in favor of information? Carried. Okay, written and verbal reports. As I said yesterday, I think that as in the whole theme of accountability, in the same way that we're here to ensure accountability from management to council, that we need to ensure accountability from council to the public. And I don't think that simple verbal reports are sufficient accountability. That's my own view. If you differ with it, you're willing to say so. But I really think that whatever policy governs the council's reporting should reflect that there be a written report. Not all of our neighboring municipalities do this, but the majority do. Sunrise, for instance, does a excellent job on it. So anyway, I've got a hard time dealing with this one since we've only been in office basically for a day. Yeah.
Last night, today.
Is there a policy, CEO, on the format that council reports take?
No, but we could put it into, council procedures, bylaw. Something like that, we could do, but, and then it formalizes it and for future councils too.
Okay, well, I'll be asking for topics for future meetings anyway, and that's gonna be one of the topics. But for now, then I'll accept a motion of general acceptance of information. For information, and then if there's any verbal reports people want to make or written, that's fine, they can do it today. But anybody want to report what you've been up to? Councilor Persky, you were here yesterday. Is that your report? Councilor Temple?
Just spent $10,000 at developers.
Is this a legitimate bet or a side bet of some kind?
He had to fix them more.
Oh, okay. Councilor Shunter?
I was here yesterday.
Okay. Deputy Mayor?
No report.
Councilor Hamlin?
Attended the orientation meeting yesterday.
Just a verbal report for myself, and I also attended the council orientation and an organizational meeting yesterday, and I attended the regular council meeting today, and I'd like to ask council to receive my verbal report for information.
Thank you. My own report, I'll make it verbal this time, but it's be the only time because I plan to write it no matter what you decide. And that is, as mayor-elect, because I wasn't mayor-elect until yesterday, I met with South Beach News and we discussed communication, my view on communication between council and the newspaper. I also had occasion to meet with 3 businessmen about my stated and often stated desire that at the forum and elsewhere, that town council has to have a strong chamber of commerce supporting us and a strong chamber of commerce representing the business community of the town and the county. And so I did meet with 3 businessmen on how to facilitate that. Other than that, I've of course met with the CAO to review the agenda, and that's how we've gotten to where we are today. But otherwise, things are fairly short. My future plans, of course, are to accompany the rest of you to our training on tomorrow to San Isidore for the public here. We're going to the training there, and it's being conducted by the legendary George Cuff. We also have a training session coming in Grand Prairie, and I think all of us are going to that. And then we have, after Remembrance Day services, I leave directly for Calgary, and we have a 3-day Alberta municipalities that myself and the CEO are going to. And that takes care of that one, but there was an invite for one counselor to accompany. Have we determined that one yet, CEO?
I don't think so, but
I left my name open if nobody else wanted to. My preference would have been to go for the RMA, Calvin, but I can go both.
There's an Alberta municipalities one in Calgary, 3 days, and there's a 4-day one the very following week, the rural municipalities, which we attend as a guest of the county. Okay, that's not our convention, it's their convention. Okay? No one else wanted to put their name forward, then the selection is complete. You're coming along to Calgary. And so the next week after is the rural. It's like, again, I say that's in Edmonton and we're guests there. And again, it's the mayor and the CAO and one counselor. I can tell you already, the mayor isn't attending all 4 days. I'm only attending 3 days. I'm skipping the first day.
The first day, they're usually just training, if I remember correctly.
I looked at the agenda and decided not to go. Okay, that's my report. Okay, one umbrella motion to accept all verbal reports for information. Have I got one?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, that brings us down. 17.1, I told you, is deleted. I want to do what I customarily do when I chair any committee or board. I want to ask people, do you have future topics that you would like raised sometime in the future? Not necessarily the next meeting or even the next month. Some of these topics may very well take considerable staff time, and it has to be fitted into people's agendas. But do you have any topics that you would like to appear on a future, either a future regular meeting or perhaps already for the committee of the whole? I can tell you right now that one of my topics is that we adjust either whatever's necessary, the policy or the bylaw, to require written monthly reports from council. That's the one for me. Any others? Any topics?
I'll just hold off now and maintain the right to bring it up in future time, because right now, until we have the training, I think it's best if I.
This request, this will be a standing item. You'll always get an opportunity to say, I'd like to hear a report. And it might be a report on, what's the curling club doing? I don't know, whatever. So, okay, whatever you feel that as a counselor, as an elected person, you need to know to better do your job.
I'd like to have administration or whatever meet with the CAO from Big Lakes, and we should, as new councils on both, pretty much, we should get together and have a meet and greet or whatever.
You notice the spy was here this morning, this evening.
Well, we should.
Yeah.
We're gonna be working with them together on boards and committees and that, so.
Yeah, I fully support that.
And I'll be attending their council meetings. It's always the following afternoon after our council meeting. So the next day, so, that's what I'll be doing, just to understand their issues. Also, they'll have questions for me periodically.
But you are coming with us, as Sen, isn't it?
That one, yeah.
Okay, no, good topic, excellent topic, in fact. I think there's need for broad joint action with the county. Any other topics that you want raised? None, we'll leave it at that then. I usually also have a roundtable in anything that I chair, and that is asking everybody, in this case, the councilors, how you felt the meeting has gone. But this is our first meeting, so I'll omit that. But in the future, at the end of every meeting, I customarily ask people to make a public statement. If you don't want to, fine. And if you feel that, yeah, we thought the meeting was too long, too short, there wasn't enough information on this meeting, or there's way too much stuff in the agenda on another topic, that's exactly what we need to know. Okay, so there'll be 2 standing items that I attach to all agendas, whether they're printed or not. Okay? The agenda being complete, I declare this meeting adjourned. I suggest we take a 10-minute body break and start our first committee of the whole meeting. You good? I don't know. It's happening. We can hold.
Yeah. Even now, it's. I mean, we could have. Things are looking. Yes, like, the thing is,